Okay, let's try and get an intro going. Okay. Hey! Nope. Calm your tits, everyone.
We said in that voice, it just doesn't work. Yeah, it's brilliant.
This doesn't bode well.
You're listening to the first episode of the Deleted Scene podcast. We're all sat here for the very first, the inaugural episode. Is that the right word?
Yep.
Good. I got that right. Someone's informed me of that. The inaugural episode of the Deleted Scene podcast. We are here to talk about films and TV and web series and media and general things. Brought to you by Flitter Films and Acting Hour. I am Christian. You might know me online as the One Bearded Man on Twitter. I have a very poorly run YouTube channel, and I have an even more poorly run Facebook page, which is even worsely updated than my YouTube. As my YouTube gets updated, I usually forget to update the Facebook page. But you may know me on there. I do have some followers. I had a two-part series called the DC Fuck Up that got some mixed reviews on YouTube. I don't know if anybody knows this, but the internet is not full of love and kindness all the time. It's it can get a bit unpleasant, but that was fun. To my right is Mr. Jay Atkinson. Do you mind if I say your full name?
Go ahead.
Like me, you write for Acting Hour, so we both write criticisms
Yes.
for Acting Hour. We get sent to movies, and then we write about them. How did you get into that? How did you get into with them? You have to talk now. That's how it works.
I know. I can't even remember
It's
how I
through
got.
Twitter, actually. Because I think you knew me
it
before
was.
through Twitter, but we'd never actually met.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah, she just
I think
randomly
you just
spoke to
kind
me
of
on Twitter.
talking about reviewing and stuff, and I was like, should we go to this movie to review them for us? And you were like,
Yeah.
And so we kind
And
of
that
did a
was it.
trial run, and yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole epic story.
I think
They're an epic story.
you were the first
Yeah, that was quite an
for us.
anecdote.
What's that?
You write, don't you? You're
Yeah, I
a
also
writer
write,
primarily.
I write scripts, novels, anything and everything really, except introductions, which I'm terrible at apparently.
Apparently so. Where can the people find you online if they so desire?
I'm on Twitter mostly at this J Thomas.
To my left, we have representing Acting Hour, Mel, who is very Christmassy.
I am very Christmassy. I don't know why. I just felt a bit.
Yeah, I noticed that little bit of gold there, and I'd saved it until we were recording to say it out loud.
It was, how long have you been
'Cause,
keeping
yeah,
that
yeah,
in for? We've
it's-
been here, what, 2 hours?
You know, that's
Yeah.
planning, that is. Very Christmassy. And we have also with us Lydia, the other half of the dynamic duo.
Hey.
Yeah, because we've got a comic booky type theme, superhero theme here.
True.
So
We have been referred to that actually a couple of times now. We seem to, where one goes, the other seems to be nearby.
Yeah, it's a little bit worrying.
Thanks.
She keeps following me, guys, and I don't really.
Oh, I thought you were following me.
Oh no.
Oh
jeez.
gosh. Strange.
good.
Anyway.
Anyway, Lydia, you're just guesting with us today. You'll be here sort of randomly, not spontaneously, but randomly.
Yeah, I'm
During
just
the
going to be
podcast.
popping in and out, depending on how crazily busy things get with Acting Hour. So Mel's going to be here to basically keep all of you guys up to date about what's happening, and then occasionally I'll pop in
And bringing the Christmas cheer.
Yeah, I'm always bringing, even in the middle of like July.
before
Christmas
Halloween, which I need to shake my head at that.
Before my birthday as well.
No.
And mine.
What are you
Melmas.
doing?
Melmas.
Way after mine.
Aw.
So they can follow Acting Hour on Twitter
Yeah.
and on Facebook, and you have the Acting Hour. That's on Wednesdays. Is that?
Yes, every Wednesday from 1 till 2, we have Acting Hour UK. So basically, the idea behind it is to come onto Twitter and basically tweet about everything that you're working on. It's open to everyone who works in all departments and all areas of film, TV, and theatre industry. So that goes for web series, in front of the camera, behind the camera, on stage, off stage. So you've got an hour to basically free promote absolutely everything you're working on and take advantages of competitions that we run and anything that anyone else kind of posts up there. And then we do a second round at 1 till 2 p.m. Los Angeles time, which is 9 till 10 here in the UK, where we basically do Acting Hour USA, which is everything related to the American industry. So the idea is that you tweet for where you want to work, not where you are based. So if you want to work in America, come back and tweet again in the evening, and vice versa.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Cool.
Great.
Fun. I usually miss it because I'm usually at work. But I try and like jump on like the UK one. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm going to
Often.
teach you the art of Hootsuite. Scheduling.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, you were saying
Yeah,
that
schedule
the other
those
day.
tweets.
Yeah.
I always make time for acting hour though, because I know that it's...
Oh.
Because
Yeah.
Kaylee's the one that cares.
Hi.
That's
Hi, I'm
not
Kaylee.
nice.
That's the one who cares. Not the one
What?
who knocks.
Everybody needs an opposite. We've got the one who knocks and the one who cares.
So yeah, or maybe I knock to show I care.
So
So you just knock because you've seen that there's loads of milk being piled up in front of their door. I think, I'll just check on.
well, to my you haven't know, but I'm going to go instead to my far right where we have Mr. Matthew Poor.
Hello.
Hello, Matt. They cannot find you anywhere online because you're not really one of us, are you?
No, I'm very much. Remember Kevin Smith in Die Hard 4.0, where he kind of lives in his basement and is not on the grid.
Oh,
Or- You can't find me on any social media or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I've slipped up today and
managed to fall online.
Yeah.
Somehow.
well, I know actually what happened was Christian trapped me in a giant glass and then slid an enormous postcard underneath it, and so
Well,
here I am.
I was making. I was making a podcast, and I thought I need at least one person who can talk a lot and knows things. And yours was the first name that sprung to mind.
Yeah, I sort of, as I don't know a huge amount about films and things like that, I serve as an intellectual and cultural ballast.
Yeah. Fair enough. Last of all, we have Kaylee, the other half of Flitter Films. I'm one half of Flitter Films. Kaylee's the other half, and she is at Mission Control, monitoring us all with a laptop and the recording equipment and headphones on, and looking very technical, I guess, is the word.
And judging.
Technically judging.
Technically judging everything.
Mainly me.
Yes.
Do you want to if you want anything, you can say anything you want about yourself. Now is the time. Now you're in the spotlight now.
No pressure.
The ears of the world are upon you.
Great. Hello.
Moving on.
Hi. Should I do an introduction? It's like, hi. I'm
I think
Kaylee.
you missed your opportunity.
I wasn't sure where my opportunity was.
I've just introduced you.
Do it again.
This is staying in.
Do it again.
Great.
Take two.
Hi.
Just write a new.
So you're on
soundboard.
Twitter.
So I'm Kaylee, and I'm on Twitter as @Kaylee Pete Casting. I'm a casting director. I'm also a producer. Produce for films, web series, theatre, and cast too.
Yeah.
Yay.
So Jay writes, we make films. Mel and Lydia run Acting Hour, and Matt, what are you studying at the moment?
I'm studying a physics degree.
Right, there we are.
Sorry.
Matt's got.
Hang
Matt's,
on, industry person.
Matt's
But-
doing something clever that might contribute to the world.
But
Yeah.
I'm happy not to talk about it and bore everybody.
Yeah, no, I thought I'd better drag you into our online world, so that you don't, accidentally contribute something to science.
Yeah.
So that's us. We're all introduced. That's the Deleted Scene Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at what was it, Deleted Scene Pod.
Did you see
At
that?
Deleted Scene Pod. You can find us on Facebook, and we're on Instagram, and just sending out
Yeah, the
messages
Deleted
now.
Scene Podcast on Facebook, Deleted Scene Podcast on Instagram.
Yeah, you might be listening to this on the way to Comic Con, or perhaps at Comic Con, because we're going to be at Comic Con promoting the shit out of ourselves.
Yay.
Um,
So swearing's the thing, right? 'Cause-
I've said the F word at
You've
least
said-
twice.
so yeah.
Christian's on board with the
So we're all about the swearing.
I'm down. So yeah, so we're going to be talking about the films we review and talking about we're going to be trying to review web series specifically, and we're going to be at Comic Con in the VidFest section, which is where all the web content and web things are. People you will have heard of, like Tom Scar, and then little web series you might not have heard of. We're in the little section that you might not have heard of.
Might not have heard of yet.
Yeah,
Exactly.
this is the
Yes.
first episode we're recording today. We're recording theoretically 3 episodes. We've gone, which seems a bit mad, but we're recording like a bunch of episodes today. They won't go out for a few weeks. But yeah, so we'll be at Comic Con doing that and trying to forge plans. And we'll have web series makers and filmmakers and people on sort of the sister of this show, which will be interviews and talks to people and guest stars and things like that. We're all sat here now. We're recording. What is everyone jazzed, excited, nervous, panicked? How do you like the darkness setup? Did you like breakfast? Come on, say something.
Amazing.
Tell me
I
something
I
good.
didn't mean to say
Validate
anything, but
my
that is the
existence.
only reason I came to. It's like, it's okay, there's breakfast.
Yeah, but being me and Mel both actresses, any free food is generally acceptable.
I mean,
and
free things in
appreciated.
general,
Yeah,
to be
just
honest
all the
with you.
free stuff, really.
So the
So-
message of today is send us free stuff.
Especially mainly food. Yep.
That's why we need sponsors.
Yeah.
I'm excited mainly for like the possibility of what this could be, and the fact that we get to shout out to really cool big films that we love, but also like shout out to sort of smaller projects that don't.
Yeah, that's what we want to do. We want to shout out,
shout.
especially to web stuff, because we've made web series.
We've made web series,
And
and we
have
know
you guys
how
been involved
to.
in web series at all? You have some on the website, don't you? You sort of-
Yeah, we did a kind of comedy skitty web series thing, which was fun.
Yeah, that was it. It's like really surreal comedy. It's
Yeah.
quite
It was
It's
fun to
crazy.
do, but like it's I really enjoyed doing it, but it's not my kind of humor in terms of like what I would generally find funny. But I had such a laugh doing it with like the cast and crew.
And
Yeah,
plus we have like
yeah,
web
yeah.
series stuff with Acting Hour as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt, you've appeared in some of our stuff.
Have I?
Yeah, you were the yeah, you were in Eaten by the Wolves as
Oh, yeah, I
as
was
the dungeon
actually, yeah, yeah.
master. You're in Marcus Macabre,
Yeah, yeah.
which got shot and then no one ever saw it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm the only person. I'm the
Because
only
it's
person
got
that's
man
watched
in
that.
it.
I think
But the short, the
Yeah.
short you
Oh,
watched
we
it
saw
big
the
face.
short- yeah.
I think actually I haven't seen that.
No, I'm the only person that has. Not even Kaylee's seen it.
It
Yeah.
needs to be sort of edited a bit. That's the issue.
Yeah, it's just kind of, I don't know, something about it. I still love the idea, and I still want to make
Yeah,
it
yeah.
somewhere.
I can't remember what the original conversation was, but it came from our ideas of thinking up really kind of bad horror films, didn't it?
Yeah.
So
In
we
the
had
pub.
like, yeah. So it had like,
All the good
if you imagine
stuff.
an invisible
Yeah.
man, but with a very bad, poorly done special effects, so then everyone can kind of see him.
Yeah.
Even the characters in universe who became the partially visible man.
Yeah. I remember that one. And the
But
one,
yeah,
the
so-
one we ended up shooting was the Face Saga.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, people just stealing people's faces.
Yeah. So it kind of, and it was a sort of film noir slash slightly gothic horror
Yeah.
Mm.
kind of comedy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just sprung up from them. But no, and then we went away and fleshed out the story. I went away and wrote it, and then you, me, and a couple of other people sat down. And basically, if it went half a page without a joke, we figured out how to put a joke in.
Yeah.
So it was joke heavy. It was very joke heavy, unlike most other things, because my comedy's rubbish usually. But no. I'm just saying this is the most joke heavy thing that
No, it
I've
was.
worked on.
It was also really fun set because I just remember there was another person that was on the cruise, also called Kaylee, and we just descended into chaos. Just two Kayleys.
Yeah,
on
I
one
don't quite
set.
know why that happened.
We
but
were
the
just
two
like-
of you somehow.
We were like, we're both called Kaylee. This is the best thing that's ever happened.
Yes.
Like, my life has peaked.
Anyway,
Jay.
so Jay.
Jay, well,
Yes.
do you have on-set experience, or do you just sit at a computer alone?
Yeah, mostly alone. Yeah, apologies first if I'm being quiet. It's just because Kaylee has got a really intimidating Lionel Richie on her t-shirt that I'm convinced is trying to hypnotise me. He's just staring at me, and it's very distracting.
He stares, he judges.
I have a little on-set experience. I dabbled in acting again for a web series that my friends have made called Kill Day, which should be coming out sometime in the next year.
Kill Day.
Yeah.
I think I've heard that.
Yeah, I tried to
Went round
heavily
Twitter a
promote.
bit, didn't it?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
tried to heavily promote it for them, but it's still in the editing stage, so it's kind of backed off a minute. Apart from that, I had a blink in your miss it part in Tarzan,
Oh, the new
the
film.
the
They
latest
filmed
one.
it
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go and hunt for that now.
Everybody saw Tarzan, right?
Yeah.
I think it's done terribly,
I
has
actually
it?
wanted to, but I just haven't been.
Is it a
really
big-
bad? I'm
is it
doing
a
a film
flop?
podcast and I haven't been to the cinema. Probably like I've been like twice in the last year. It's really bad.
But the thing,
I've been
Terrible
quite a
human
lot.
being.
It's really difficult to see films
Well,
right
because-
now because Cineworld, we've got the unlimited card, and it always annoys me that you get to go see Captain Fantastic or Hunt for the Wilder People. Can't find them anywhere in North London Cineworld.
Yeah.
See,
Well,
for me at the
sort it
minute
out,
and stuff,
Cineworld.
I've been so busy with like most things and stuff. When the only chance I'd probably get to see them comes up is the screenings, but then
Yeah.
I tend to send like Christina J to review it instead.
Yeah.
So it's
I
sort of
have to get
like
them to like
I'm-
reenact the films.
yeah.
for him.
when people are like, oh
yes.
yeah, no, they're asking me. Everyone's always asking me questions about like, oh, this film and that film and stuff. I'm like, I don't know, I haven't seen it. But don't you run like a film-based, like company? I'm like, yeah. But my critics kind of have to go and see them so they can write about it, and yeah.
Well, I probably see 3 or 4 new films a week.
Yeah, and I've seen
Yeah.
like 2 new films in the last year.
Yeah.
Like last thing I saw was the new X-Men, and before that it was the new Star Trek, and before I can't remember.
Because when I don't go to
Star
things,
Wars, I think.
yeah, when I don't go to things for you guys, me and Kaylee go out, or I see things,
Yeah.
just find a random film on Netflix. So
Yeah,
I've kind of become
yeah,
addicted to watching new films now, and I do
it's
it a lot.
great.
The best
Probably
time I
watch the
ever
most
had
films.
watching new films, the best time I ever had watching new films was that at one point I was working for Empire Cinema in
Oh, yeah.
Leicester Square, and when I had days off, I would just go in with a little backpack full of like sustenance.
Yeah.
And I think one of the days I at least watched 5 films back to back.
Yeah.
That'd be a
between,
nice
like,
place
the
to
3
work.
cinemas in Leicester Square, just zigzagging away. So at one point I was actually up to date on every single film that was out
Yeah.
in the cinema, which is difficult to do.
It
because there's
is,
a
yeah.
lot.
Mhm.
Those were the days. I miss those days.
Yeah, that's pretty much my life now. I'm pretty much live in the cinema.
Yeah.
Have my whole life really. I'm
Yeah.
always checking out something. I just all day, every day. Even films that no one will bother seeing in the cinema. If I'm just sitting alone, like Killer Joe and Drive and all that, that no one.
We-
Excellent.
I literally had to go all the way to Wandsworth just to sit in a cinema on my own watching that film because
Yeah.
I have to see every film. I'm just obsessed.
Yeah.
Well, Jay, you missed the opportunity this
Yes.
morning to see Trolls. Are you are you depressed about that?
Oh,
You
Jay.
were
Yes,
dragged here instead.
I'm very, very depressed. Yeah.
It might be good. Kids' films can surprise you sometimes.
I
Yeah.
actually really wanted to see
Kids'
that
films
when
can
it came out.
surprise you.
I saw the trailer and I was like, oh my god, Trolls! So yeah, I was excited.
So is
about
it Trolls as in the little kind of
The little
Yeah,
thing?
Yeah, with the
So
big
not
hair.
Trolls as in Trolls who, oh no, they're eating my mum. And I'm next.
Yeah,
It's not like a prequel
those
to that.
Trolls,
Oh,
not
that
those.
really cool from Trollhunter. Was it Trollhunter?
What do you do next?
Oh.
Oh no!
Yes.
God, I haven't been to the cinema for so long. I'm trying to think what's the last thing I watched.
Last thing I saw at the cinema was actually Suicide Squad. So that's quite a while ago.
There we go.
Yeah, it was a little while ago now. Wasn't
Yeah, but now
Yeah.
because of the topic of today's podcast, I've been kind of trying to catch up on the Marvel films. So
it? Right.
Yeah, we watched Luke Cage in preparation for having this discussion on the podcast.
Yeah, we haven't got to that
Oh,
yet.
yeah.
We'll go to that again.
We'll get to that in a minute. Weirdly, the last film I watched was the Postman Pat movie. It was actually on yesterday before I left the house.
You just left it on.
I was just watching it and I was like, it's Postman Pat, why not? It's quite fun actually. So yeah, Postman Pat. 4 stars.
YouTube is my default. So I will come home and I'll put YouTube on the Xbox and on the big TV.
Yeah,
Rather than put a DVD or whatever.
Well, I'm currently making my way through the Gilmore Girls in preparation for
Strong.
November the 25th.
Strong work.
Can't wait. I'm so excited.
Jay's excited. Look at his face.
I know.
Have you
Bring
seen
on the
Gilmore
Gilmore.
Girls?
I've never watched it in my life.
Nope,
We've
me
got
neither.
time. We've got time. November 25th. They're all
There's
there on the DVD
all
shelf.
7 series.
All 7
Okay.
series.
They're also
I think
When
Jane's
does it
face
come
is
out?
also reflecting mine at the moment.
When does it come out? The new one?
November 25th. There's 4 parts.
Yeah,
So that's-
4
4
parts.
90
That's
minutes
dead on my
episodes.
birthday. Yeah.
Basically, they're
That's
doing
how I'll
4
spend my
movies.
birthday, just watching Gilmore
You
Girls.
should.
Yeah.
That'd be a fun
Great.
birthday.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be a
So-
great.
You
movie.
can watch the new ones with no context from the old
Yeah,
ones. You have
just
no
watch the
idea
new
who these
ones, yeah.
characters are, what the
Yeah.
hell's going on, or why you're supposed to care.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or you could do a mass marathon to catch up. Because
Yeah.
those are really good fun.
Kind of like before the new Avengers film, where me and Christian just watched all the previous Marvel films, didn't
Yeah,
we?
that's
I
getting
always do
harder and
that.
harder to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It is. I mean, it takes a lot of
It took us
time.
a day and a
Yeah.
half.
Yeah.
For the
Yeah.
last one, they did a whole thing
We
at
were
Prince
unemployed.
Charles Cinema where you could watch all the past Marvel films. and
Yeah.
I must have been in there for like 18 hours.
Just recent.
They did a Captain
Right.
America one, didn't they? You could watch the first 2 Captain Americas before
Yeah.
Civil War.
Yeah.
That's probably quite good.
That's fine. I think. I remember going to watch the Avengers with the second time I went to see it when I was at BAFTA, and there was 2 people with me, and one of them hadn't seen some of the previous films. So like as we're walking in to take our seats, I was going, right, the one thing you need to know about Thor that's really important is this. One thing about Captain America that's really important is this. So,
Are you explaining who
so I
these
was
characters
literally
were to everyone?
explaining what was going on because I think he hadn't seen Thor and he'd seen.
There
like,
are people
Iron
who
Man.
randomly dip in. You do meet
Yeah.
people and they're like, yeah, I just watched this random Marvel. I'm like, really?
Decided to watch Avengers
Odd.
2.
Yeah.
It is
Like,
possible to do though with the
It is,
Marvel
though,
films.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
are-
They do stand alone.
Most
Yeah,
of them
they
are
are
individual.
So that's quite good.
You get
Yeah.
more out of them if you've seen the rest of them, but
Yeah.
they work in and of themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Or sometimes they don't quite work.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yes.
Okay, well, on that note, I think we'll move on to our topic of the day. So, everyone, I thought, right, we need a topic. We're going to be at Comic Con. We need a nice neutral topic that the audience can get behind us with. A nice, perfectly neutral that everyone can agree with. So I went with Marvel versus DC.
Yay.
The there's going to be no conflict of interest there.
Yeah, no, I can't see any problems at all.
Yeah.
Especially since I've already described that I've got lots of hate on YouTube for my rants about the DC movies already.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, we're going to now agree that Marvel is awesome and DC suck, and then go home. Is that how it-
That's what we were gonna do. That's what
Yeah.
I want to make it clear we're talking about movies specifically,
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
and the TV shows and Netflix shows. I pretty much watch everything. I realised before this that I stopped watching Legends of Tomorrow about halfway through
Okay.
Yeah.
and just forgot about it.
Yep, I stopped watching.
Yeah, and that's kind of probably a bad sign for the show,
Yeah.
isn't it?
I stopped
I
watching
watched it
Legends
to
of
the end,
Tomorrow.
though.
Watch the end. Does it get good?
It does get good at the end, but that's not really a good sign for a show. That you have to get to the end
You
for
have
it to
to
get
get to the end.
really good.
Mm.
Yeah.
I watched up until them escaping the Time Masters place.
Yeah.
And then there's that. I think it's partly the villain who I find irritating.
Yes,
that he's
he
just
was
basically
very-
unkillable.
Yeah.
Well, what's the point of this?
And again, they
Why
wait.
are we continuing
They
to
wait
try?
till the very last episode to reveal what his ultimate plan is, and then within 45 minutes they've stopped it. It's
Oh
just,
right, okay.
Oh.
it's
Fair
very
enough.
terrible. Yeah, they don't have enough
lesson to
material.
all villains though ever is just don't tell everyone about your plan, because
Mm.
the minute you
Yeah.
do it, it screws up. If you just kept it to yourself,
Or make up
It'll be
two plans. Tell them about the fake one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I do have to say that Marvel did combat this kind of scenario and cliche in a very fantastic way when Loki basically tries to give a great big speech and the Hulk literally uses him
Yeah.
as like a doormat.
Floor.
I watched that in the cinema, and the first
That's the
time
best bit.
I saw it, everybody laughed so hard. I
Yeah.
did not hear what the Hulk said afterwards
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah,
And the second time I was in there, I caught the puny god, but it was still so much laughter that it wasn't until I got home and watched it on DVD that I
Yeah,
heard the
so-
little noise that
Oh,
that
yeah.
Oh,
Loki
right,
lets out.
Yeah.
And I just died. It's just brilliant.
It is
Watching-
brilliant.
Just to come back to something that Jay said, where he said if something only gets good at the end, that's not a good sign. I kind of always am wary about that, where people say, "Oh yeah, the end was really good." Oh, so the bit where it stops, that was my favourite.
Did you
Yeah,
see?
the credits was the
finished.
best.
Yeah, the bit where it's not happening anymore.
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, to go off topic slightly, did you see the new Godzilla?
Oh, I haven't actually.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The end of that is so good. It almost makes up for how crap the film was. Like, I'm tempted to own that film just for the end. Because the first art, no, it's terrible.
It's like as a completely separate film though. Like it's literally
Yeah.
like not the same film. Like
Yeah,
could
the
have been like if they'd have gone somewhere different with the beginning, it could have been a really interesting film.
Yeah.
But as Godzilla, it didn't work. But I did like it, but almost as not as that film.
Yeah, the first 2/3 of the film, the first two
Yeah.
acts are rubbish. Well, they're not rubbish.
Yeah.
They're just not a Godzilla film. They're just what's his face running around.
Are they kind of
Yeah.
like it's like
Doing
the
nothing.
humans sort of running around whilst big monster things happen? Is that what?
Whilst big monster
it's
things
sort of-
happen, way in the background, out of focus, somewhere else, you
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
see
I mean,
anything.
A bit
But
like
everyone-
Cloverfield. It's kind of
Yeah, but
Well,
then
let's
Yeah.
face it, the monsters in there have basically been.
But there was
stolen from
intrigue in that.
Cloverfield,
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
They looked exactly the same.
yeah,
But
yeah, but you like Cloverfield as well, didn't you? So that,
I like
I do,
Cloverfield.
but Cloverfield's really clever
I like
because of the last
Cloverfield.
clip, which I'm not
Yeah.
going to ruin for people, but
Yeah.
anyone who has seen Cloverfield and hasn't spotted the last bit in the last clip
Oh,
where
yeah,
they're by
yeah,
the
yeah.
seaside,
No, I
needs
think
to go
I
and watch
think
it on a
everyone
big
knows that.
screen TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's really clever. But like the bit in Godzilla that I really kind of enjoyed out of the film, and the bit that kind of sticks with me is the bit where they're on top of that railway bridge, because that was for me the only
That was
bit where
quite
there
good.
was real tension.
Right.
it didn't really go anywhere, but it was quite
No,
good.
it didn't go any from there, but that actual, just that little scene by itself
Yeah.
was actually really well
That film
filmed.
really makes you not care about the humans. I find.
That's
I'm like,
never a
I
good
don't
sign, is it?
don't
No.
want. And once Godzilla's fighting at the end, it's really good. It's just, there's so many things that get better at the end. It's so insanely. Like I'd recommend. I think that's a rubbish film on the whole, but I would recommend people watch it just for the final Godzilla fight scene because it is so
Should we just
ridiculously
skip
good.
straight to the end?
Yeah, just go and
Yeah,
watch it.
just watch that.
Fine.
Right.
So just watch. If you
That's
can
what
find
I'm gonna
that
do, yeah.
online
Unless, of course,
somewhere.
So
you're
did you?
Taylor
What
Johnson
about Bryan
fan, in which
Cranston?
case you
Because
can
everybody
stare at
raves
him
about Bryan
Yeah,
Cranston.
Taylor
How did you find him
Johnson's
in that film?
He's
listen
an
to
actor who can
Godzilla
act.
before
I mean, what
they
more do you want to
Yeah.
say about it? He plays his role fine.
Yeah.
He very very well. But yeah, doesn't he? Well,
What?
Bryan Cranston's not in it. He's not in it that much, is he?
No.
Yeah, he's in it, but he's not in it for very
No,
long.
it's not
Doesn't
very
he?
long.
Yeah.
He gets radiated or something.
Yeah, he does. I
He's
thought.
a little
Yeah.
Ah,
Spoilers.
Jack.
Spoiler
Alright.
for a film that came out 2 years ago.
2014.
But
Yeah.
I told you it's all about me, and I haven't seen it.
Well,
Don't
now you
sorry.
don't need to.
True.
There we go.
Yeah,
Say- say-
yeah,
Killing
that
off
was a
Bryan
random aside.
Cranston is always a mistake. Never.
Yeah, and not casting him as Lex Luthor is also a
I
huge
know.
mistake.
Oh wow!
He was even bold.
You know what?
That would have been amazing.
Yeah,
wouldn't
that
it?
would-
So should
I
have
mean,
been
I
Lex
did
Luthor.
quite like to get into DC films. I did quite like the Lex Luthor in that film. Not because it was a good Lex Luthor, but because he was the only character that was really different to the other characters.
Yeah.
It was the only thing that provided any kind of contrast or
Mm.
You
You
mean
know,
in
wasn't-
Batman vs Superman?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Jesse Eisenberg.
he
He
didn't
looks
work.
ridiculous bald. He looks stupid bald.
Yeah.
He just
But
does.
I always kind of liked the Lex Luthor from Smallville.
I did as
I
well.
never really watched
Like,
Smallville
I
that
thought he
much.
was
I watched
really
it a bit.
good.
He
'cause
was the
had
best thing in it.
He was very good with what he did, like with his face in terms of emotions. You could never. His
face
Very
was
good.
really
No,
Emotions
because
in his
like
face.
he was like you could kind of read his face either way. Like he could be doing a good deed, or it could be something more sinister underneath.
Right,
But
yeah.
he was
Yeah.
very ambiguous with his expressions, and that's yeah, it's not
No,
something
it
you
was.
see every day. And
Yeah.
it's very
It
good.
And
was
it's quite good for
because-
the character of
yeah.
Lex Luthor.
Yeah, especially because obviously that's like the early years. At that point, Lex is supposed to not really be necessarily bad, but you
Yeah.
can kind of see hints of where it's going.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
No, that was good because you could actually. There were points where he progressed alongside Superman, basically. So you got to feel bad for him. You got to see all the
Yeah.
nuances of him.
And
and I-
they were basically like friends. As
Yeah,
well.
and
so
that's-
it's
it
a
was
really
really
interesting
good. It was
way
really
that they
good.
went with it. The problem with that series is it just got to the point where it was so repetitive
yeah, it went too
that
long.
every episode kind of was.
How
the
long
same
is the
thing.
series?
I have no
Like
idea.
10
I must
series?
It's quite long actually. I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah,
been
it
on
went
for
for
a
like
long
'It's
10
one of
time.
those things that I kind
Yeah.
of think I'd like to watch, like Supernatural that I never watched either.
Yeah, like
But
it's-
now it's so many series of it, like it's too
Yeah,
late for me to get
exactly.
into
It
it.
kind
I
of
can't.
went the
Super
way that
Bowl.
all Superman films seem to go towards the end, which is, oh look, another piece of his planet that he's allergic to. I mean, no wonder he's
Yeah.
on Earth.
This
Yeah.
one's red, this one's black. Yeah. No, he was really good. I think the other good thing about what was his name, Michael Rosenbaum,
Yeah,
played Lex
something
Luthor.
Like that.
it's because even when he got cheesy, he played it quite straight. So it,
Yeah.
I don't know, it seemed more realistic, like grounded. He didn't
Yeah, I mean,
feel
for
the
me,
need to
he's
go all
probably one of the best
cartoonish.
Lexes that I've
There's
seen.
He is my
207
I've not
favourite
seen them
Lex.
all, but he's one of my favourites.
Yeah.
I-
217 episodes this
Yeah,
morning.
it's too late to
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah.
He's-
If that's
He's
like
my favourite
45
Lex,
minutes
I
an
think.
episode, then that's way.
Yeah. Right, let's get a bit more focus. So, we are now deep into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MCU, and the DCEU, as it's being called, the DC Extended Universe, is
Yeah.
just beginning. We've got 2 films in. 2 films in?
Three
3
films
films in.
Three films in.
I've already forgotten how these terrible films.
Man of
Blocking them
Steel,
out.
Batman vs
But
Superman,
okay, we've had
Suicide
and Suicide, yeah.
Squad.
So we've had superhero films before this incarnation.
I think with Marvel, there's something I suppose special for me about Marvel because it was kind of like my beginning of like being a nerd because I didn't realize how
Your nerd
much-
awakening.
My nerd awakening. I'm sorry.
The nerdening.
Because we went to see Iron Man on our first 1 year anniversary.
Did we?
Yeah.
The first one.
Yeah, the first Iron Man.
I remember we saw
Iron Man.
Spider-Man 3 for our first date.
I mean, our first date
That
was
was
Spider-Man
not
1.
That does not
No.
bode well.
So
Even
that
when
you
he's
know.
strutting
But we
around.
will forget about that because Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2 I still love.
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
Spider-Man 3, not so much. So, yeah,
It's the
our
bit where he
first-
struts down the street. I'm just like, oh, great.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. He's
And the dance
dancing.
bit that follows and
Yeah.
the golf.
It's
God.
Oh, it's horrible.
It's really bad.
no.
We went to see Iron Man for our first year anniversary, and we sat watching it in Camden in Odeon. I was eating a watermelon, but I didn't realise how much I actually was loving what Marvel Cinematic Universe was doing until I got to the end of got to like the first Avengers.
Oh,
And I
Avengers.
came
kept me
out of the
hooked.
Avengers film, and we went to see it with David Novis, who's a friend of mine and Christian's, who's like a
He's a
massive,
super nerd.
Yeah.
He's a massive nerd and a
he's
massive man. He's like
massive
Yeah.
6'6" or something.
Yeah.
He's-
And he
An enormous
was just
man.
bouncing off the walls going, oh my god, that's the best thing ever. And I was joining him going, oh my god, that was so great. And I was like, they got me, I'm hooked. This is it.
Well, I think I
See-
saw the first Avengers 3 times in the cinema, like I remember at that point it had been quite a long time since I would literally go to pay to see a film in
Yeah.
the cinema multiple times over the course of a couple of weeks.
It's such
I'll
a
be honest with you.
great
I went to
film.
see Spider-Man 3 at the cinema, and that put me off paying to see any sort of films for quite some
Don't
time.
see any film at all.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things I love about going to the cinema sometimes is going for a second time to see a film that I already know and just watching everybody else watch it. And
Yeah.
I love the idea of going, oh, I know that really funny moment with Loki and the Hulk is coming up, but nobody else does, and I'm just going to watch them enjoy it.
Yeah,
I
same
enjoy
here.
it.
Yeah, I was really sorry that they didn't have that I didn't get the
Ever?
chance to see Star Wars in the 3D, sorry, the 4D.
The
'cause
new
then we've
one.
got a 4D
4DX
X
screening.
cinema in Milton Keynes.
Yeah.
And I was kind of thinking about it, but then I was too busy with my course, so I didn't get to go. And I thought, I'm never, because if you haven't been to 4DX, they've got things like they spray water, and they've got kind of like different. They even put things like perfume in the things, all kinds of stuff like that, and the chairs move and all this kind of thing. So yeah, I kind of feel that I missed out on being able to smell what a distressed Wookiee is like. I don't know if I'm ever going to get that back.
Can I point out the 4DX experience that we had, which I think is the only way that I've ever viewed the film, and I've seen it now and I don't need to see it again, is Gravity. Because we saw Gravity in like 4DX.
We did.
With our seats moving.
Oh
and
my
everything,
god,
and I was like,
I
I
was
was
like
space.
seasick for the sky.
I'm gonna vomit
I
everywhere.
couldn't vomit. It was the scariest thing ever because you
It was
genuinely
good,
felt like
though.
you were in it. You were like,
That was a
I
good
just
film
wanted
to
just
see it
touch
in.
George Clooney from it.
Yeah, I can.
I mean,
can
not a lot of
imagine.
smells in space, so that didn't really come up. But
Yeah.
No, not much
but no, that was good for that.
It
It
was
was,
not burning.
it was kind of like one of those rides at Universal when you see.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was good for them.
And now I never need to see Gravity again because watching it on like a tiny TV
I-
screen now
It's not
is
gonna compare.
gonna
Yeah,
compare.
I-
even like-
Yeah,
Okay.
I saw it like that out in the middle of nowhere in Gloucestershire. I think it was at my friend's house, and it was watched with. It was his girlfriend and her mum, and then 3 physicists, and they said it's a very interesting way to watch a film like that.
yeah.
Because there was parts of it where we just kind of got into discussions about why satellites crash out of the sky when there's a solar flare and things like that, and we kind of missed what was going on. But there was one thing I did notice that in that film was when she's talking about she's talking about her daughter that was killed or died at school, and then she says, I don't really do anything anymore. I just kind of get in my car and drive and listen to the radio and drive all night. At that point, I sort of turned to my friend and said, do NASA not have any kind of psychological profiling for people they send into space?
Probably should
if that's it sounds, rather than going up to fix a satellite, she should be in some kind of therapy.
Can I point out that this is great discussion about Marvel?
I know. Right?
That's true. We're on topic a bit there.
Remember that really famous Marvel Gravity?
The thing is, if you think, like you were saying, I think we're in fairly good agreement that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is pretty solidly put together.
Yeah.
If you think before that, we had Daredevil, Elektra,
Yeah.
Ghost Rider,
Yeah.
Ghost
That's
Rider
great.
2,
Yeah.
the 2 Hulk films. You think actually there was a lot of rubbish
Yeah.
coming from of Marvel characters.
Yeah, they failed horribly quite a few times
Yeah.
before they
So I'm
actually
wa-
figured out the right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So I wonder
so-
if the DC universe might have a similar thing where they kind of
But these
fail
Haven't they
and
been
then
doing
But the
that
thing is-
for a while now?
before this.
I think about
Hang on,
50
hang on.
years, something like that.
Yeah, before, if anything, DC was doing better because they had the original Superman
Yeah.
franchise,
Yeah.
the Tim Burton Batmans, which are pretty solid.
Yep.
DC were doing better than Marvel, and now it's flipped.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just to give you a thing, I've got like a document here. There's like films they had before that were based on Marvel comics. So 1986 they had Howard the Duck. They had
Oh yeah, Howard the
Yes.
Duck.
That
They had
classic.
I always forget that.
1989 they had The Punisher. 1990 Captain America. 1994
1989.
19, hang on, 89 Punisher.
Yeah, with Dolph Lundgren.
1989.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
But
Have I
he-
never
he-
heard of
He
this?
never calls himself the Punisher, and he never has the T-shirt. With the
He's just a
skull,
bloke punching
but
and
he's
shooting
just
people.
killing. Yeah, but
Wait. I think you're thinking of He-Man actually.
yeah, that was the 80s Punisher.
So we had 1989 Punisher, Fantastic Four, 1994, Blade.
Oh,
in
Fantastic Four, yeah.
1998.
Blade was good.
Blade
I
was
liked
good,
Blade.
yeah.
And then X-Men.
I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed Fantastic Four, but that was mainly because of Chris Evans.
Chris Evans is
Uh,
top.
yeah,
Yeah,
other
it
than
wasn't-
that, let's just forget about it.
And-
Is there
and,
is there not
Welsh
another
was the
Fantastic
Fantastic.
Four before
Yeah,
that
And
though?
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
there
that
is.
was a
In the
really-
same
Oh,
vein
yeah,
as
yeah, the Roger Corman one.
Yeah.
Captain America.
The
Yeah, yeah,
Fantastic
yeah.
Four 1994.
Oh, yeah,
I
there's
have a
some-
note that just says unreleased on it.
There's some really old
Yeah,
versions of
didn't
all
they
of
make
these
that
that
one
Yeah.
to
no
be-
one
The
talks
Captain
about.
the Captain America one was not
2005
released in
Chris
cinemas. It was
Ah,
it was
Yeah.
straight to video. I need to straight to DVD there. 1994.
We've got Blade, Fantastic Four. We've got X-Men films. Obviously, X-Men.
So they did do the
X2.
X-Men films fairly well, I think.
I don't know if they hold up.
The first one and the second one
I don't know if they hold up.
X-Men
I thought
2
they
was good.
Either.
They were one of those ones where I liked them, but I didn't love them.
Yeah,
See, for me, those are the ones that I kind of, in terms of like Marvel, those are really the ones that really first got me into Marvel. But then when I
Yeah.
was a kid, I used to watch like X-Men Evolution and stuff on
Yeah.
TV in the cartoons. So when X-Men finally came out, I was like, oh yay. Although that being said, like the newest one that came out, I'm really pleased because they finally got Nightcrawler right for me.
All right, okay.
Like
Yeah.
the previous Nightcrawler, though he was good, wasn't really.
See, I remember loving X2 at the time, but watching
me
it
too.
again, I'm like, why?
Yeah,
Why
I
did I
think
like this film?
it's one of
I
those
remember
films that
being
at
really
the
disappointed
time-
with the portrayal of Rogue in both those because
Yeah,
Rogue
so
for me
did
was
I.
She
from
was
the
cool.
The animated.
the animated series
Yeah.
where she was nowhere near as angsty, although she did have a little bit of kind of
Yeah.
trouble, but she was a kind of more mature, a bit more fun, and she also had the kind of awesome powers that she had,
Yeah.
rather than just the kind of rubbish no touchy. Oh, I can't touch
She's
anyone.
just
it's
emo
fine."
in those.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
become the modern portrayal. But I think in the comics, the original and in the series as well, the reason she could fly and beat up giant
She
robots.
just touch them and take their power and borrow it from
Well, she had permanently taken. Yeah, have you,
It was she permanently taken Captain Marvel, who was at that time Miss Marvel, and she'd basically stolen her powers permanently and put her into a coma. So her kind of internal conflict was occasionally Carol Danvers, I think her name is. The character would appear and kind of torment her. So it was quite again, it was quite mature themes for a cartoon,
Yeah.
but it was quite well done.
Yeah. I think it's important to note that right before, so the Marvel Cinematic Universe starts in 2008. The year before that, 2007, Marvel films were Ghost Rider, Spider-Man 3, and Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Wow.
that is bad.
So that is
That
what
is a
happened.
bad year.
And then you've got
Somebody
Iron
went,
Man.
we need to take control of this.
Yeah.
Pull yourself together, guys.
Either that
Yeah.
or they're much more clever than we think they were, and they decided to deliberately
Just
release really bad ones.
really
so
bad
the next
ones
ones that they came out,
first.
everyone was
Yeah.
like, these are amazing.
Although
But
in
they
fact,
let someone else
Spider-Man
do
3
them,
was owned by Sony at that
Yeah,
time.
Yes.
and
So,
Fantastic Four was
Columbia
Fox.
Pictures was-
Yeah,
So
because
Yeah.
let
some of
them
their
make
biggest
bad
things they
ones and
didn't
then we'll
have
do
the-
good ones.
That was like Marvel obviously seeing them and going, yeah, we need to set the record straight.
Yeah.
and Ghost Rider had
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider. Which is,
Oh,
even when
God.
I before I'd even seen it, when somebody said, "Oh, it's going to have Ghost Rider," oh wow, that's cool. It's going to be Nicolas Cage. What? I mean, Nicolas Cage could be quite fun in the right role, but not.
Not
He is
Ghost
a
That
Rider.
one.
ridiculous
Yeah.
being.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that gets me with DC is that I grew up with my sort of first sort of thing with Superman, because I hadn't seen the original Superman films. So my first thing with Superman was watching the Amazing Adventures of
Lois and Clark.
Lois and Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lois and Clark, the
I
New
watched that.
Adventures of Superman. And that's how I was like brought up with Superman, being like this really fun character, and him and Lois Lane being like equally matched.
Yeah, that show is
That's been,
camp
like,
as hell
really-
though.
But
Yeah.
I loved it so much. And I just thought that Dean Cain was great, and Tony Hatch was great, and I just thought the whole cast was great. And I used to love that show so much. So when I found out that the DC were kind of doing a Superman film called Man of Steel, I was like, oh my gosh, yay, Superman. And the Superman that they have in DC, and you've mentioned this in your
My
video
rants.
blogs, in your
Video
rants,
rants.
it's the fact that it just doesn't. It doesn't feel like Superman. He's so
No,
sad. all
I'd
the
agree.
time.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you,
Like, he can fly and he's
what they-
bulletproof, and he has Lois Lane, and then he'd smile for fuck's sake.
Have you
What they
seen
need
the-
to do is have some kind people gently lead Christopher Nolan away from the DCEU.
Yeah, just lure him away.
Yeah, because he does a good Batman. Because Batman is
Yeah.
dark and brooding and things like this, but he just
Yeah.
doesn't know what to do with Superman.
But he wasn't.
That's the problem with Man of Steel. He just didn't. It's
But
not
Christopher
Superman. It's
Nolan
basically
wasn't-
Batman who
He
has magical
produced-
powers.
Was
Chris Nolan's on it somewhere.
produced it,
His
yeah.
writer
Yeah.
David Goyer. He's
David
written-
S. Goyer.
He's written them all, hasn't he?
But he produced
and he's
it.
clearly a bad writer.
He wrote Blade, and that's kind of like the one
Yeah.
good thing that he's done.
Been milking
Everything
it
since
ever
then has
since.
been kind of slightly disappointing or very disappointing.
The only one Zack Snyder didn't direct was Suicide Squad, isn't it? That's the first one that
Yeah.
Zack Snyder didn't direct, which is why it looks so different. to the
Yeah.
rest of them.
But Nolan did have a hand in pitching this version of Superman. It
Yeah.
was his idea to make it more.
So he's the one to
Brooding, so-
blame then
yeah, pretty
for
much,
destroying
yeah.
Superman.
But then I don't think it's really that like, to me, initially I thought when I was looking at kind of the new DC stuff, I was like, well, maybe the difference is because Marvel has an awful lot of really, really good actors playing their part. And I was like, well, maybe the difference is they don't have such good actors. But then people like Henry Cavill is actually a really good actor.
Yes.
But in that, he's
not.
not good. Like, he
Yeah.
barely has an emotion at
watching,
any point. So that's
Yeah.
either writing or
Yeah.
directing or something. And most of the actors that seem to be in the DC stuff are traditionally very good actors, but then they get in that and something happens to
It's
them,
like
and
Ben
they just
A
go
bad-
Affleck too.
terrible.
Like, I mean, like Ben Affleck as well. Like when I saw Argo, I was suddenly like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, like that was
yeah,
phenomenal.
but Ben
He was
Affleck's
phenomenal.
good in certain parts, and then in
He's
other
good
things,
Yeah.
it's a bit-
when he's
Yeah,
directing
but I thought
himself.
he
Yes.
would have been able to do it.
Bad directing can ruin an actor.
Yeah.
I mean, think about all that really great actors who were in the Star Wars prequels, and how just kind of incredibly wooden they were.
Oh,
Think
God,
about
they had
think
Ewan
about Will
McGregor.
Smith in After Earth with M Night
Isn't
Shyamalan
it?
in charge. You know, think about
Yeah.
Eddie Redmayne in what was that one?
Oh my
Oh,
god.
the
yes.
Jupiter
Jupiter
Ascending.
Ascending.
Goodness, yes. Oh
Love
my god.
that.
And it's
That
kind of
was
like,
terrible.
what the hell was, you know?
I think that film. I think things like Man of Steel have kind of just stripped the idea of him having a personality from that, and people that just watch that think he is kind of boring and
Yeah.
doesn't really go anywhere. But you actually see him in anything else, and you're like, actually, he's really cool.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
like,
we love you,
He
Henry
is
Cavill.
an actor. Like people, like a lot of the time, when people will be like, "Oh yeah, no, this person couldn't possibly play." I'm like, they're an actor, so they were acting in that. So when they act
Yeah.
as a different character, it's going to be different.
You say this, but there are a lot of
Yeah, there are.
actors that don't play different
There are a lot
parts.
that don't, but there are also a lot that do.
Yeah.
So like you can't judge like one actor's entire career based
No.
on one film,
No.
and there seems to be like a lot of that.
I think
Yeah.
Amy Adams is a brilliant actress as
Mm.
well, and I kind of think that they've done such a disservice to Lois Lane's
Yeah.
character, because God, that character was so
Well,
good.
the thing is,